So what if your life was in danger and you kept a diary about it? Like, what if you were sick and you thought that you might die and you used your writing to confront your own mortality? And what if, stay with me here, what if in the process, this diary of yours became like a manifesto about the purpose of writing and the meaning of your work? What if it became an instrument of self-analysis and self-discovery? That's what Audre Lorde did. And this slim little volume, The Cancer Journals, is a not famous enough book about big existential questions. Maybe you've heard of The Cancer Journals, maybe that's why you're here, but if you haven't heard of Lorde before, I want to recommend this book to you. And I want to try to explain what it has to offer by just highlighting some of the things that I have learned from it. I've broken this video down into 3 lessons, general takeaways from this book, 3 reasons why you might want to read it. Lesson 1 is about courage. We are going to talk about courage. I studied this text with my students this year. I'm a professor in the Great Books program at St. Thomas University, and this is one of the texts we read in our first year Great Books course. And the thing that really drew me in was the book's account of courage. In this book, Audre Lorde reflects upon a cancer diagnosis. She's diagnosed with breast cancer. And throughout the book, she describes herself as a warrior. And I would say her opponent, her enemy or antagonist in this work is not precisely the disease. It's not the cancer. It's fear and despair. And throughout this book, Lorde reflects on the weight of her fear for her life. But in this extraordinary way, she talks about making her fear useful. As women, we were raised to fear. If I cannot banish fear completely, I can learn to count with it less. For then fear becomes not a tyrant against which I waste my energy fighting, but a companion, not particularly desirable, yet one whose knowledge can be useful. She talks about using her fear as this opportunity or occasion or tool for self-reflection and for better understanding herself. There's 2 really valuable insights here. The first is that fear is a tool we can use to acquire self-knowledge. When we find ourselves afraid of getting sick, of losing our lives, what is it we are really afraid of losing? By understanding what it is we are afraid to lose, we understand what it is we value most of all. And that is incredibly useful knowledge. The second insight, I think, is that we can be afraid of our own bodies. Just like being alive can make us afraid. Hey, it's me. I tried and failed to explain this before, so I'm going to try again. Lorde talks about anxiety in the Cancer Journals, how even after her treatment, every bodily pain or ache made her afraid that her cancer was going to come back. Sometimes fear stalks me like another malignancy, sapping energy and power and attention from my work. A cold becomes sinister, a cough, lung cancer, a bruise, leukemia. Those fears are most powerful when they are not given voice, and close upon their heels comes the fury that I cannot shake them. I've had fears like this before. You worry that every headache or stomach ache is something really serious. What Lorde talks about is the way that these fears, these anxieties really can distract us, can prevent us from living our lives and distract us from doing meaningful work. We need a baseline level of human courage just to live in a human body. We don't just need courage in a crisis. We need some courage just to confront our own anxieties too. Okay, the second lesson is about writing through a crisis. Lorde has this interesting phrase that she uses throughout the book where she talks about using her writing to integrate this crisis into her life, into the story of her life. She writes, "There must be some way to integrate death into living, neither ignoring it nor giving into it." We think of our lives as stories. We think about narratives, origins, where we came from, what our goals are, the obstacles we've overcome. When you suffer a tragedy or an unexpected illness, it alters, it changes the story of your life. This was not supposed to happen. This was not part of the plot. And Lorde suggests part of the work of being a human being is finding ways of integrating tragedies into our life story. And in fact, this book seems to be an effort to do just that for Lorde. Lorde talks about when she's first diagnosed with cancer, one of the problems she ran into is that she didn't have any models. She found that, for example, like the treatment options and the counseling she received were not tailored or calibrated to a person like her with a life like hers. She describes herself as a Black, lesbian, feminist, warrior poet. And some of the advice she's given about about a mastectomy, for example, is about, well, how will your husband or your boyfriend respond, after you've had this surgery? And that doesn't apply to her. And so Lorde writes this book in part for other women, for other people like her, to provide them with a kind of model, a sort of pattern that they can follow so that they can integrate tragedy into their lives. And in that way, I think she shows us something powerful about the nature of writing, about what writing can do. Writing is this tool that helps us process our losses and our failures and our grief. But we can also use writing as this mechanism, this method of charting a course for other people, of lighting the way, of leaving a trail, creating a path that other people can follow. Lesson 3, your body is like a book. One of the most memorable sections of the Cancer Journals is when Audre Lorde talks about her mastectomy and how she chooses to live in her body after her surgery. Lorde talks a lot about her discomfort with cosmetic surgery or with a prosthesis that would replace the breast that she lost. Lorde's principal critique, and maybe this is controversial, I don't know, but her main critique is that women are often encouraged to view breast cancer or the loss of a breast as a cosmetic crisis. That the thing that matters here is your appearance, how you're going to look. And Lorde encountered a lot of this discourse and this kind of advice and treatment after she had her surgery. For Lorde, her surgical scars are like battle scars. She styles herself as a warrior. She has survived this encounter with her own mortality. She has looked death in the face and lived to tell the tale. And she expresses in this work her deep discomfort with the idea of concealing those scars, of trying to pretend like this thing hasn't happened to her. Because again, she has integrated this tragedy into the story of her life. This is who she is. Societally, we have these expectations about the way women are supposed to look, women are supposed to appear, the way their bodies are supposed to appear in public. And this is one of the reasons that the Cancer Journals is such a really interesting feminist work, because it highlights for us the ways, even medicine, we will direct medicine towards upholding societal beauty standards. Like I said, I taught this book to my first-year students in the Great Books program at St. Thomas University. I made a whole video about that if you'd like to see some of the other books that we're reading this semester. If you like this video and you want to support the channel, you could also do that on my Patreon page. Maybe I'll see you over there, or I will see you there, and I will talk to you soon.